CBX Business News. The Business News headlines is brought to you by QMax Wealth Management, making more possible.
Market meat cleared, IDB backs Haiti, and oil prices slip as tensions ease. Good evening and welcome to CBX Business News for Thursday, October 9, 2025. I'm Rochelle Moncrief. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in the newscast, locally, market meat cleared in $80 million probe, procurement rules under scrutiny. On the regional front, the Inter-American Development Bank approves US $100 million grant to rebuild Haiti's northern health system. And over on the global stage, crude oil prices slip as Israel-Hamas ceasefire eases. Supply fair. Brent holds near $65. Stay tuned as we unpack these stories and more right after.
Me grew up and see my granny save her money under her mattress.
Exactly. Okay. Your grandmother house never burned down?
No, how you reached that, so? That was a one-off thing.
That could have happened to anybody. That's why you must put your money in a financial institution and protect it.
What if the bank crash?
Well, that's where JDIC comes in.
What you mean?
JDIC is a financial safety net which provides coverage for your money in case your financial institution fails.
Explain that to me.
Alright, because of the JDIC deposit insurance scheme, once you put your money into a financial institution like a bank or building society, you can get coverage of up to a maximum of $1.2 million per deposit of your financial institution if it should fail. And for even more information, you can visit their new website at www.jdic.org, and you can follow the social media platforms for the latest information.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
The local news is brought to you by Darriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with a powerful signal from Jamaica's Monetary Authority. The Bank of Jamaica has held its asset base at just over 1.7 trillion Jamaican dollars, reinforcing confidence in the island's economic foundation at a time of persistent global volatility. As at September 24, the central bank's balance sheet shows the total assets of approximately Jamaican $1.72 trillion, virtually unchanged from the figure reported for September 10. This stability reflects a well-managed reserve position anchored by foreign currency assets and domestic securities, the financial bedrock supporting Jamaica's monetary framework. On the liability side, currency in circulation and commercial bank deposits remain dominant. This structure, paired with a stable capital base, gives policymakers the flexibility to act decisively, whether through foreign exchange interventions or liquidity management. What's notable is not a sudden surge, but the sustained strength of reserves at historically high levels. And with the BOJ holding its policy rate at 5.75%, the signal is clear. Monetary policy remains stable, deliberate, and disciplined. Meanwhile, Jamaica's procurement standards are once again in the spotlight, this time following the Integrity Commission's 3-year probe into nearly Jamaican $80 million in contracts awarded to Market Me Consulting Limited. In a report released on Tuesday, the Commission says it found no illegal conduct but flagged contract splitting risks, and a failure to declare a personal friendship that created the perception of a conflict of interest. The investigation covered 15 contracts, 14 from the Health Ministry and 1 from the National Family Planning Board, including a Jamaican $15.8 million deal tied to the Jamaica Moves campaign. The findings were formally released during Parliament's sitting on the same day. Here's how it was tabled in the House of Representatives.
Laid on the table of the House are the following. Integrity Commission's investigation report into concerns that Ms. Keisha Lewis, councillor at the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation, failed to file her statutory declarations with the Integrity Commission for the years 2019, 2020, and 2022, and its indicative ruling. Integrity Commission's investigation report into concerns that Mr. Roger Curlew, former councillor at the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation, failed to file his statutory declarations with Integrity Commission for the years 2019, 2020, and 2022, and its indicative ruling. Integrity Commission's investigation report into concerns that Mr. Rowan Hall, a councillor employed to the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, failed to file his statutory declaration with the Integrity Commission for the year 2019, and its indicative ruling. Integrity Commission's report of investigation concerning allegations of procurement irregularities and conflict of interest in the award of contracts to Market Me Consulting Limited by the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
In financial news, Jamaica-listed airport food and beverage operator Express Catering Limited has kicked off its 2026 financial year with a strong performance, posting a 50% surge in net profit on the back of leaner cost controls and growing travel activity. For the quarter ended August 31, net profit rose to US $1.51 million, up from US $1 million a year ago. Revenue climbed nearly 5% to US $6.79 million as passenger numbers through Sangster's International Airport grew by 5.5%. But the real game changer came from cost management. The company slashed its cost of sales ratio to almost 26%, down more than 4 percentage points year on year, thanks to fixed price ingredient contracts and tighter operational controls. While utility and credit card expenses climbed, overall costs were contained, driving a solid bottom line. The company says it's upbeat about the rest of the fiscal year, pointing to increased hotel room inventory and a strong tourism demand heading into the winter season. We move to a major South Coast comeback story. The Treasure Beach Food, Rum and Reggae Festival is returning to the island from November 7 to 9. According to promoters, this staging of the event will be bigger, broader, and built on community tourism. Festival director Jason Henzel says last year Hurricane Beryl forced a pause, but also rallied donors and sponsors to help farmers and fishers bounce back, setting the stage for this year's economic push. Headliners include Agent Sasco, Capleton, and Christopher Martin, with an artisan village, curated rum tastings, and tours to Lover's Leap and Pelican Bar.
In 2023, we had a fantastic festival. The idea was to make it an annual festival, but we all know what happened in 2024. Hurricane Beryl came. And, you know, we did a lot of work through our foundation, Breads. We raised a lot of money. There were a lot of fundraisers from persons, small, medium, and large. You know, fundraisers in America, in Kingston, in Europe. And we raised enough funds to help persons to put back their roofs on their homes, over 550 homes. But more importantly, as it relates to this festival, we were able to get farmers vouchers, small, medium, and large farmers vouchers to get back into their field, fishing wire to get the fishermen back out to sea.
That was Festival Director for the Treasure Beach Food, Rum and Reggae Festival, Jason Henzel. Meanwhile, Agriculture Minister Floyd Green says this year's festival will feature the largest farmers market yet, a direct investment from RADA aimed at boosting rural incomes.
I'm pleased to announce that as the Food, Rum and Reggae Festival is being held in Eat Jamaica month, there's a direct synergy, and as such, RADA is going to come on board as a sponsor for the Food, Rum and Reggae Festival. We'll be providing the biggest farmers market you have seen for a while. So when you come down to party, also get some of the best melons, cantaloupe, honeydew, everything that we have to offer right in one place at the farmers market at the Food, Rum and Reggae Festival.
That was Agriculture Minister Floyd Green. We go now to updates from the Bank of Jamaica on how the currency markets traded today. In Thursday's trading session, the US dollar is selling for $161.54, the Canadian for $116.10, the pound sterling for $216.54, and the going rate for the euro is $186.99. We move to the latest updates from the JSE equities. In Thursday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 112 stocks, of which 37 advanced, 50 declined, and 25 traded firm. Leading the winners are Jetcon Corporation, Cygnus Real Estate Finance USD, Blue Power Group, and KLE Group. While leading the losers, the Limnas and Bards, MPC Caribbean Clean Energy USD, Productive Business Solution USD, Ordinary Shares, and Caribbean Cream. The main index declined by 985.10 points or 0.31% to close at 321,996.15 points. The junior market index declined by 4.03 points or 0.12% to close at 3,352.74 points.
And it's time for Market Education Feature, brought to you by CariCris, Regional Ratings, Global Standard.
In today's Market Education Feature, we're looking at the term knowledge-based economy. A knowledge-based economy is one where growth is driven by knowledge, skills, and innovation rather than traditional assets like land or manual labor. It focuses on turning ideas, research, and technology into economic value. In many advanced economies, a large share of activity now comes from intangible assets such as specialized expertise, patents, and proprietary technologies. Globalization has accelerated this shift by spreading best practices and innovation across borders. Although these assets are critical to modern economies, they are often not reflected on company balance sheets under standard accounting rules.
The Market Education Feature was brought to you by CariCris, Regional Ratings, Global Standards.
And that's it for the local news segment. Please stay with us. The regional news is up next.
The local news is brought to you by Diamond Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses. And Pulse Investments.
We get it! We get the big contract! 50,000 units a month for 3 years! Great! But we need help.
If you are a business owner that requires capital for the expansion of your business, talk to a registered broker today to find out more about listing your company on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, an efficient alternative to other financing options.
Thank God for the Jamaica Stock Exchange Junior Market.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, providing a fair, efficient, and transparent stock market.
We're here to open a savings account for my son John. I really want him to start saving and managing his own money.
And I need for Save to visit my father in New York.
Okay, based on what you said and our risk assessment, he will qualify for simplified customer due diligence requirements. I'll need your ID, proof of income, TRN, and John's ID as well.
Okay, here you go.
Opening an account is easier than you think using simplified customer due diligence requirements, also called CDD.
Welcome back. And now for the regional business news. The Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, is sounding a sharp warning. The region must adopt a bold new growth vision or face what it calls a third lost decade. Launching its Panorama of Productive Development Policies 2025 in Mexico City, ECLAC's executive secretary says the region is trapped in low productivity and weak transformation, with labor productivity still below global averages despite a 2.2% rise last year. He urged governments to scale up strategic industrial policies, boost science and technology investment, and expand cluster initiatives to drive new growth engines. ECLAC estimates up to US $2.8 trillion in green investment will be needed by 2030 to transform the region into a global hub for sustainable development. The Inter-American Development Bank has approved a US $100 million grant to help Haiti rebuild essential health services in its 3 northern departments, a move aimed at saving lives and preventing disabilities. The grant, approved by the IDB's Board of Executive Directors, will modernize the country's health system through infrastructure upgrades, digitalization, and the development of a medium-term investment plan. It also supports the delivery of critical services to combat both non-communicable diseases like diabetes and hypertension and infectious illnesses including cholera, malaria, tuberculosis, HIV, and HPV. To ensure no one is left behind, special care protocols will be designed for underserved groups such as displaced people, returned migrants, vulnerable women, and persons with disabilities. Most of the funds will be directed toward strengthening frontline health facilities in priority communities, marking the first phase of a long-term public health network rebuild in northern Haiti. St. Kitts and Nevis is pressing ahead with a US $250 million Ritz-Carlton resort on Southeast Peninsula. An anchor investment, the government says, could lift the GDP by roughly 2% and create hundreds of jobs in construction and operations. When questioned by journalists during a press conference on Tuesday about claims that the developers had pulled out, Prime Minister Terence Drew firmly denied the allegation, saying the investors remain fully committed to the project.
I spoke to them, and I wouldn't say that they have not pulled out of the project. They have invested significant amount. What has happened there is that there is a matter with persons who had been there.
He says blocking the project on private land would send the wrong signal to investors and hurt the country's reputation as an investment destination.
If we are to stop a private entity from investing $250 million on private land in St. Kitts and Nevis, we would ask the question, are we serious about development, advancement, and diversification on these lands that are designated for major development? We have to ask ourselves that question. How can, if somebody has private land and you can just go on the person's private land and stop them from developing the private land, why would you come to St. Kitts and Nevis? This will be an unfavorable environment in which to invest.
That was Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drew. It's now time for news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 18 securities, of which 3 advanced, 3 declined, and 12 traded firm. Today's winners are A.S. Bryden & Sons Holdings, Republic Financial Holdings, and Scotiabank Trinidad and Tobago, while leading the losers are Massey Holdings, First Citizens Group Financial Holdings, and National Enterprises. Trading activity resulted in the following movements. The All-TNT Index advanced by 3.98 points to close at 1,442.42 points. The Composite Index advanced by 2.07 points to close at 989.11. The cross-listed index remained at 70.50. The SME index remained at 99.17. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is up next.
Let's all get fit. This summer set drip. Hip dips and split. Power in the mind, let's get healthy with it. Sometimes your body's so hard, but your body wants it. And then your head is so home, and it's so like this. So we gotta go 1, 2, 3. One more now. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. One more now. 1, 2, 3. One more now. 1, 2, 3, go.
We're here to open a savings account for my son John. I really want him to start saving and managing his own money.
And I need for safe to visit my father in New York.
Okay, based on what you said and our risk assessment, he will qualify for simplified customer due diligence requirements. I'll need your ID, proof of income, TRN, and John's ID as well.
Okay, here you go.
Opening an account is easier than you think using simplified customer due diligence requirements, also called CDD.
In international news, crude oil prices fell on Thursday as markets shifted their focus from geopolitical risk to fundamentals. West Texas Intermediate settled at $61.01 per barrel, down 1.7%, while Brent crude closed at $65.22, down 1.6%. The move followed news that Israel and Hamas have signed a ceasefire and hostage release deal, the first phase of a plan that could ease war-related supply concerns from the Middle East, which provides roughly 1/3 of the world's crude. The U.S. Treasury Department also imposed sanctions on nearly 100 targets linked to Iranian oil exports. Analysts expect prices to remain range-bound as OPEC Plus output nudges higher and China's crude buying slows. Goldman Sachs Group Incorporated projects Brent will average around $56 a barrel in 2026, while Citigroup Incorporated warns downside risks remain but could be tempered by geopolitics. And while energy markets react to easing tensions, the technology sector is heating up with a major new AI rollout. Amazon Web Services has unveiled Quick Suite, its latest AI platform designed to automate everyday office work. The tool, priced at $20 per user per month, can analyze sales data, generate reports, and summarize content. It integrates with Slack and partner tools from Salesforce Incorporated, Microsoft Corporation, and Adobe Incorporated. Existing Q business customers are being encouraged to migrate. The launch comes just as Alphabet Incorporated introduced the Gemini Enterprise at $30 per user per month, intensifying competition with OpenAI and Microsoft in the workplace AI space. And over in Europe, some of the region's biggest industrial players are challenging a key part of Brussels' green agenda. Total Energies and Siemens AG are spearheading a call to abolish the EU's Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive. In an October 6 letter to French President Emmanuel Macron, the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, the companies backed by 46 major firms, argued the law is burdening European competitiveness. The CSDDD, adopted in 2024, obliges companies to address human rights and environmental risk in their supply chains, with fines of up to 5% of global turnover. Brussels is negotiating changes to simplify the rules, but Siemens and Total Energies want it scrapped entirely. Meanwhile, in Latin America, the region's e-commerce powerhouse is moving into a new, highly regulated sector. Mercado Libre is testing the waters in Brazil's online pharmaceutical market. The company acquired a physical drugstore, meeting local legal requirements for e-pharmacy operations. Executives say the aim is not to build a national chain, but to create a marketplace for small and medium-sized pharmacies. Mercado Libre already sells medicines online in Mexico, Argentina, Chile, and Colombia. The company is also in talks with regulators to modernize Brazil's outdated pharmaceutical rules, a move that could unlock a multi-billion-dollar online market. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. The news recap is coming up on the other side of the break.
Serious about building Jamaica? Build with solid PVC pipes and conduits, manufactured in Jamaica by Phosphate, made to the highest standard. Solid PVC pipes and conduits are made in Jamaica by Jamaicans for Jamaicans. Available at hardware stores across the island. Take some solid advice, support our economy, and build well. Buy solid PVC pipes. Next time, ask for solid brand PVC pipes and conduits. Call our distributors or Phosphate at 876-937-5099.
And now to recap our top stories. In the local news, Market Me cleared in $80 million probe put spotlight on procurement rules. Regionally, IDB approves US $100 million grant to rebuild Haiti's northern health system. And internationally, crude oil slips as Mideast tensions ease. Brent near $65. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Rochelle Moncrief. Thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.
Aaron Donaldson. Keep watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.